Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another Monster Hunter video, and today we are going to be taking a look at the shortlist entries for the Monster Hunter World Iceborne weapon design contest and also the Palico armor and weapon designs as well. In last week's video where I spoke about some of my favourite weapon designs across all Monster Hunter games that I have played, a lot of you guys said that you would like to see me talk about the entries or the kind of finalists for the competition, and there's some really cool designs. So that's exactly what we're doing today. So if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know which ones are your favorites. And also, if you haven't entered our giveaway for a chance to win a Pokemon Let's Go Nintendo Switch, the link to that is in the description box down below. And also for those of you that were hoping for a favorite armor video, that'll be coming your way next week. Anyway, I have my trusty iPad here, and I'm gonna scroll through, got the official tweet here. I'm gonna scroll through the designs. Now, I wanna make it very clear, I'm not an artist, and this is not a video talking about like artistic feedback. I'm not going to be like, this design, they should have done this. No, I'm talking purely about the concept. So when I go through, there's quite a lot to go through, so I'm going to try and keep it snappy. So first one we have is, I think it's a hammer. Bear in mind they blurred out all the actual information and the names, so we don't know who made them, and we don't have any of the actual details for the weapon, but pretty sure this is like a fishbowl hammer. Looks really cool, like design-wise, I love the concept. Not entirely sure how practical it is. I mean, I feel like if you're going to smash that with a hammer, the fish are going to get really dizzy, the bowl's probably going to crack, but I mean, we are also talking about Monster Hunter. Doesn't have to be realistic. As concepts go, that's pretty cool. However, moving on from there, the next one, probably my favorite hammer of the ones that I've seen, just because it is like a golden, well, it is a golden Meowscular Chef. It's just like Muscle Chef at the end of the hammer. It kind of makes sense. He's a strong guy. He's the number one, as you can see, emblazoned on the hammer, and I feel like this would just kind of be a joke weapon. It also seems kind of like the sort of thing that they would like in the weapon design contest. They often like these quirky designs, so I'd definitely use that. The next one is a hunting horn. Now, I'm not really a hunting horn user too much. I do love hunting horn, and I love having hunting horn users in my team. It's just not personally the weapon that I use too much. However, design-wise, what I really like about this one, it kind of looks like something that would fit into, say, like a Tales of game or like Xenoblade, something like that. It's got this semi-futuristic sort of like mechanical look to it, but I do like the subtle detail that it is also effectively a feline print or a paw, and then, you know, I assume once you kind of have horn buffs, the claws come out, and that's actually really cool. So in terms of like design theory behind it, I like that a lot. Moving on from there, we then have a sword and shield. Now, I mean, yes, I'm kind of biased. I like my sword and shields. I need more sword and shields. This is really cool because I mean, I've been playing a lot of Sekiro recently, so the straw hat thing already kind of like jumps out to me. But what I like about this is the way that I mean, I don't know how it would actually function in game, because typically when they pick weapon designs, they need to effectively follow the way that the weapon typically behaves. So I don't know whether you would actually be able to have a hat, like the shield be a hat when it's sheathed. I don't know whether they would do that, because obviously that requires different animations. When you go to draw, you then have to take from the head. I love the concept though. The fact that essentially when you're not using it, the shield is your hat, your straw hat, and the blade, it goes from being a conventional folded blade to essentially this scythe when it comes out. So design-wise, it's really cool. Like the fact that you take the hat off, use it as a shield. Again, practically speaking, I don't know how durable a straw hat would be, but I like that. I like that a lot. That is, I would fully farm anything you throw at me to get that weapon. Next one up is, I assume, a longsword. I mean, it has a component that could potentially be a shield, but the way that it's designed, I'm pretty sure it's a longsword. I really like this one. This also kind of falls into that semi-futuristic, also steampunky kind of design, where it would also kind of fit in like a Tales of or a Xenoblade game. Looks very cool. I love all the little paper pieces on the blade. I assume they are, in fact, if I look kind of closely, I think they are previously completed quests. So it's like you take them from the quest board, you put them on your sword. I mean, again, I feel like in use, they might come off, but hey, we're not always being practical here. But design-wise, I like it. In fact, this also reminds me, I don't know why, but I kind of get a Skies of Arcadia vibe when I look at this weapon. Now, moving on from there, we have a gun lance. This one, I know this is the one that TwoSixNine was voting for. I definitely put a like on this one as well. I mean, to be fair, I voted for quite a few of them. This is really cool, right? This is a gun lance, but they've basically tried to change the way that you use it, because obviously on one hand, I mean, you basically have two robot hands, okay? And effectively it kind of does what, say, the Dante Charge Blade does, where it tries to like hide your shield. It's still there, but it tries to hide it, and this way, instead of your shield being an actual shield, it's just a massive fist. So essentially, if this got made, you would be walking around with two giant robot fists. And obviously factoring with the gun lance, you can, you know, burst shells, you can charge them up, you can put out like the Wyvern Blast. So you basically be like Iron Man with like Megaton fists, and yo, if they could do that, that would be really cool. I like it when they kind of take the concept of the weapon and try to, you know, think outside the conventional box. The next one's a charge blade. This is, I really like the kind of mechanical look to it, the sort of clockwork look, almost reminds me of something that would fit into a Zelda game. And obviously being a huge fan of charge blade, it being one of my main weapons, then again, kind of slightly biased towards this. Also, I don't think we've ever had a charge blade win a weapon design contest, so we need some more charge blades, all right? But yeah, I like this one. I also really like the way that they've, you know, kind of put a lot of detail into the way that the mechanism works at the bottom, so there's been a lot of thought that's gone into this design, so very cool. Yo, there's a lot of weapons. I was scrolling through. I forgot how many weapons there are. There's a lot of weapons here. This next one, I'm not entirely sure what it is, to be honest. I mean, the really, really long part makes it look like it's obviously a lance, but then there's also a blade with it, so I don't know whether they tried to pull like a curveball and try and make this like a dual blades. I think it's a lance because the thing on the left makes it look like an obvious shield. Design-wise, very cool. I'm liking the eye in the shield. I'm liking the weird sort of Medusa look to it. The concept behind it is very cool. I'm just not entirely sure what it is. Next up, we have a gun lance, which is basically Thomas the Tank Engine, the gun lance edition. It's a train. The design is very nice. I like the fact that the shield is basically this massive ram from the front of a train. So obviously, if you're kind of advancing with that, it's going to look really cool. But yeah, the fact that it's basically just a train, I mean, we then have a bow up next, which is really colourful. Really, really colourful. There's some rather interesting little like mask looking things. In fact, I don't think they're masks. I think they're actually like just, you know, dispersers for the canisters. But on one part, where the mist comes out, kind of looks like a little mask. But I'm liking the very sort of venomous look to it. I'm not entirely sure, you know, what it's supposed to have come from. But design-wise, I mean, if this make it into the game, it would probably be the most outlandish bow we've probably ever seen. Alright, in hindsight, given that there are so many weapons, we're going to talk weapons today. We'll talk Palico armor in the next video, because otherwise we're going to be here for a very long time. This next one is a very cool looking lance. Almost looks like something I would see in Soul Calibur as like a weapon for one of the more like regal looking characters. Very, very nice. I'm liking the way that, like, I like these weapons where when you draw them out and then where you do something, some kind of action, it changes the appearance. There's a few weapons, or there's quite a few weapons in Monster Hunter that do this, but, you know, things like if your weapon's charged, or if it's like, you know, you've banked your files, or you've done something like that, then it changes it. So the fact that with this one, it seems that when it's sheathed, it's kind of in its normal form, and then when you draw it out, and then you go into like a power guard stance, it emits this glow, this kind of crystal glow. So that looks very cool. It almost looks kind of like a Final Fantasy kind of weapon. This next one is so creepy, but also very cool. On one aspect, it almost kind of looks like if Venom was in Monster Hunter, this is probably what he would look like. And then on the other hand, it, from like a side, kind of looks almost like a Gypsaros zombie. Like if Gypsaros got really angry and then kind of just came back after all the times you killed it and was just really, really kind of demented and deformed. I feel like this might be what like a zombie Gypsaros looks like, which is the thing of nightmares. But if I look at both images and I see the left and the right, then I'm assuming that the right is like the default one, and then when you charge the hammer, then stuff comes out the face, which is really creepy. I apologize, by the way, if I've made a mistake on the actual way this thing functions, but again, there's no details on the actual functionality, so I'm having to try and, you know, make some assumptions based on the design. All right, this next one is clever. It's a gun lance. It's also a barbecue. I mean, kind of what more do I need to say, right? You've got the fire at the back, obviously heating the meat. Then when you reload, the meat folds down. So I guess you could also kind of use it tactically. It could be like you attack and you cook your meat, and then when you go to reload, it gets close to your mouth, so maybe you can eat it during reload. I don't know whether that would functionally work, but nice. Then this next one is very, very cool. Looks kind of like something that you would find in a game like Skyrim or Dragon's Dogma or something crazy like that. You've obviously got the bones and the jaws of the beast on the back as the actual scabbard for the sword. And then when you take it out, you got a flaming sword. It's very clean, it's very nice, and I would fully make a build around that in-game. After that, we have another bow. In terms of actual form factor, it's a lot more reserved, but I see what they've done here. They've basically taken what looks kind of like the Hokusai wave, the kind of famous Japanese painting wave, factored that into it, although when you actually look closely inside part of the bow, in fact, no, sorry, not part of the bow, where the arrows go, there actually appears to be a monster coming out of the ground. Not a monster I recognize. I almost want to say it looks like Rayquaza, which is from Pokemon, completely different game. But that's cool. I like the color scheme. I like the, it's definitely more modest, but it's nice. Then after that, we got the Beetle dual blades. These are really cool. This kind of taps into what I was saying the other day, last week, about me liking the Gormagala dual blades because they are, instead of being blades you hold, they're actually kind of claws that go on your hands. This is the exact same thing. Again, I mean, I'm going to make this comparison a lot because I love Zelda, but it looks kind of like something that would go into Zelda. I think it's also because there was that one time in Skyward Sword where you actually had the bug that you could then send out to grab things. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Either way, this is cool. But the next one, this is the one that I voted for. I mean, I voted for a few. I put likes on a few different ones because you can do that. But this is the one, if I had to pick one design of all of them, this is the one that I really wanted to win just because it almost looks like, imagine if you gave a Gundam a charge blade in like the next series of Gundam. It just had a charge blade. I feel like this is the weapon it would use in terms of like, you know, it might not be as outlandish as some of the other ones, but it just looks very, very cool together. The fact that when you like put the sword into the shield, like it creates almost like this bigger looking greatsword. Oh, sorry, wait, no, you know what? I see what they've done here now. They've actually made it so that basically it does look like a greatsword when you combine it. So when you're in axe mode, you're actually in sword mode. So they've kind of tapped into the whole Dante Devil May Cry thing. Sorry, I only just realized that. Basically, I just like the design. I love the color scheme on it. It looks very nice, looks very clean, looks very sort of like semi-futuristic or like modern, but yo, this is the one. If I had to pick one of the entire list, this is the one that I want in game. I mean, they're all very good, to be clear. Everyone that entered, fantastic work. But if I had to pick one, this is my one. Following on from there, we then have another one. I mean, this one's kind of similar to the first one. Like, obviously slightly different design, but the concept is the same. It's a fishbowl, there's stuff going on inside of it. Not entirely sure whether it's a horn or a hammer. Again, same comment. I feel like it functionally might just crack. Not entirely sure why there were two of the same one. Well, I mean, they're not exactly the same, but I'm not entirely sure why there were two of the same one in the competition, but that's not for me to decide. Anyway, moving on from there, we then have a... I don't actually know. I mean, one part of it makes it look like a sword and shield. One part makes it look like it could be a charge blade, but then it looks like a great sword and a long sword. I don't know. I mean, it looks cool, but I'm just thinking, are the pictures on the left supposed to be the complete design? In which case, is it a long sword? So maybe that thing is just the sheath for the sword. Pass. It's cool though. And then finally, the last one. This is another charge blade. Very cool design. It's got that sort of like owl look to it. So I feel almost like this, if you saw like a really, really angry looking Malfestio, like if Malfestio came back with a vengeance and was like Malfestio 2.0, I feel like maybe this is what its charge blade could look like. Very cool, nice colors. Again, looks sort of like one of those things from like a Final Fantasy kind of game, but I like it. So yeah, that's those are the weapons. As mentioned, the intention was to go over the Palico stuff as well, but I realized that there were a lot of weapons to go through, so we're going to talk weapons today, and then I'll do a follow-up video talking about the Palico gear, because there's some really cool designs in there as well. However, just to round out the video, there are actually some entries. Myself, TwoSixNine and Paradise had some entries. We didn't win, of course, we didn't even get shortlisted, but I thought I'd share them with you guys. Massive shout out to OSEN'S as well. I'll leave a link to his Twitter in the description box down below. We are not talented artists, so we came up with a concept, and OSEN very kindly turned that into a reality, so massive shout out to him. Very cool. Check out his work, check out his art. But my design was actually like a reimagining of my design that I submitted when World first launched, so maybe that's kind of why I didn't win, because I kind of just like remade my design, but I wanted to make it even better. So this is kind of based on the concept behind the Cydaeus Sword and Shield with the, it's a charge blade by the way, but kind of like based on the Cydaeus Sword and Shield with the chains around it, but it's also like, if you've played Killer Instinct and you know Spinal, then it's got that kind of demonic vibe with the skull on the shield, and the idea is that then when you charge the files, the eyes ignite, and that was kind of my concept behind that. We then had 2.6's longsword, which was kind of designed to sort of like fit the theme of, you know, Iceborne slightly more so, and then in the hilt of the actual blade, you've got a Lunastra gem, and then essentially what happens is as you begin to level up your spirit gauge, it then gets engulfed in these flames. There's also like black tar down the blade, and then it gets engulfed in these flames, and then as you get towards spirit level 3, the flames go black, so it looks really cool. And then Paradise did a light bowgun based on Xeno'jiiva, so you actually have Xeno'jiiva's head on the front, and then, you know, when you open it up, you put the bullets in the back, and then it fires out of Xeno'jiiva's mouth. So they were the designs that we submitted. Yeah, we didn't get shortlisted, but let us know what you think in the comments down below. Anyway, that's it for the time being. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite designs were from the ones that got shortlisted, and of course keep it locked, because I'll do one on the Palico gear at some point very soon. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to check out some more awesome stuff from us here at Arekkz Gaming, then you should definitely try to catch TwoSixNine and Paradise Central streaming 6 days a week. You can find a link to the multi-stream in the description box down below. They play a wide range of games, and what's more, we also have the Endgame store. By watching their streams, you earn currency, and you can redeem that currency on the Endgame store for really cool prizes. Those can range from things like games, comics, and figures, all the way up to controllers, capture cards, and even consoles. So definitely drop by and become part of the community. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure you're subscribed and be sure to click on that little bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss our next upload. You can watch more videos by clicking on the options here, but once again, thanks very much for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.